and welcome back. This is Melanie Wass from mentoringmastery.com, and I wanted to talk to you today about mentoring conversations for mentors in particular. This session is. So quite often mentors will ask me, well, how do I actually move a conversation around? How do I know when to flip a conversation or twist it in a certain way to get the maximum value from that session? And that's what we really want to cover off today, how you can move a conversation between different areas. We've looked at the GROW model in terms of moving a conversation through a circle of goal, reality, options and will. This is another tool that you can use for managing conversations in a mentoring process. So what I'd like to be able to do is show you a model and explain that to you. So this model gives 3 different directions, or actually 6 different directions that you can move a conversation around. So let me walk you through. You can challenge a particular mentoree. So if you have a mentoree who is perhaps more capable than what they realize that they're capable of, and you can see that capability, you can challenge them to step up a little bit and go outside their comfort zone. Or perhaps it might be that you've got someone who talks a lot about doing things but doesn't actually get them done. So again, you might be able to challenge them that way. So challenging is about pushing them a little bit, nudging them a little bit, giving them a little bit of room to grow and stretching them within the constraints of the mentoring process. Because if you push sometimes a little bit too hard and too fast, that might create some challenges in itself. So it's about a mentor getting to know your mentoree and understanding how much more that person could be pushed and stretched to what they're normally comfortable with. The other converse side of that is sometimes you're going to need to support people. So if they've been working in a certain fashion and they're feeling a little bit jaded or feeling a little bit like they've been through the barrel a little, then you can support them quite a bit. So that's where you're going to be providing some encouragement, getting them to analyse and reflect on their actions and the consequences of those actions, getting them to consider, what things that they could do going forward to rectify a situation that might have gone a little bit pear-shaped, or to look at future opportunities in a certain area. So they're 2 lines of a continuum that you can move between challenging someone and supporting them. So hopefully that gives you a tool. Another one that we can look at is to take someone from seeing the big picture to focusing on the present. Some people are so involved with what's going on at the moment that they don't actually see that there are bigger things to look at. They get a little bit tunnel vision in their perspective. So quite often it's about saying, okay, let's just step up and take the helicopter view here and look at the big picture. What might we have to take into account? So you can move people from that perspective right down to focusing on the present. So the converse thing, that you could have someone who's all air and in the sky in terms of their vision and the things that they could possibly do, but what can they focus on right here, right now, that they can do? So sometimes it's moving them from the big picture down to the detail, from the big picture down to what's now, what's possible, what can they actually step into taking now. The other area that you can look at is moving them from the past to the present, from the past to now. You can do that a couple of different ways. You might have someone who gets stuck in the past, who can see that they can't do something because in the past it didn't work, or because in the past they had these issues or challenges, or they didn't have the level of education, or they don't have the right skills, or whatever it might be. So sometimes you have people who focus a lot on what's happened in the before. Sometimes it's about saying, okay, well, let's use that. What can that help to do for us now? The other side of it is sometimes someone at the moment can't see their way forward, but you can use their past to be able to inform their future. So maybe someone feels that they can't move ahead in a certain area. You could say, okay, well, where in your past have you done something similar? What skills did you need to do that? What challenges did you face? What obstacles? How did you get around that? Okay, so how could we apply that to the current situation and what you're wanting to do? So sometimes you can use their past history or their past experience or their past knowledge and skills to give them the confidence that they have that within them to be able to move forward. And sometimes it's about dragging them out of worrying about what's happened in the past to actually focusing on what they can do now to move forward. So again, it's about moving between a continuum. So it's about attenuating your listening to the content and the intent of what a person is saying, to be able to pick the cues of, are they focusing too much on the past? Do I need to bring them to small steps that they can take now? Are they caught up with what's gone wrong in the past that means they can't do what's going on now, so can I use that? Are they a little bit fractured now and needing some support and encouragement? Are they needing to be pushed a little bit now that they've got a little bit of room to run? Are they needing to look at the big picture, or are they needing to look at the detail? So there are different points that you can move a conversation depending on what you're hearing from your partner. Hopefully that will help you. What I'd like to do is to get you to do an exercise around this, to try and apply it before you actually move into your mentoring session. So what I'd like you to do is to run a practice session of mentoring for 10 minutes. So you'll need to find 2 other people. They don't need to be your mentoring partner. In fact, it's preferable they're not. So perhaps just another couple of mentors who you are familiar with. And give each person a assigned role. One will be a mentor, one will be the mentoree, and one will be an observer or coach. So again, you each have a role to play. Yes, I know it's role playing, but it's the best way to practice. You will be the mentor, because what we're trying to do is upskill you a little bit and give you the opportunity to practice these skills. So choose to either start a conversation or end a conversation, or you might want to be in the middle of a conversation. So have a think about where you're at in a conversation with someone. Select that part of it so that you know what you're focusing on, because we're only doing 10 minutes. And then choose the type of mentoree that you might have. So it might be that you've got someone who's quiet and you need to sort of pull them out a little bit. You might have someone who's quite talkative that you need to shut down a little bit to get some conversation going in the direction you need. You might have someone who's a little indecisive. You might have someone who's very committed. Just give a brief description without naming names necessarily, but just give a brief description of the type of individual that your mentoree is, so that the person who's acting as your mentoree in this exercise can take on that role a little more realistically, and then use that model within that practice group to move the conversation around. So you're going to have to make it up, because this is a practice session, it's not a live session, but you'll be the mentor. You'll brief your other 2 parties on what the situation is in terms of whether you're starting or ending a conversation or in the middle of it, and the type of mentoree you have, and then run a mentoring session and focus on trying to use those skills that we've just talked about, moving a conversation between the past and the present, the big picture to the fine detail, the focus on the past to the present, the whole area that we've just talked about there. So good luck with that, and what I'd like you to do is to then report back in the comments section about what worked well for you out of that model, what did not work so well for you, and what might you need to be mindful of when you're actually going live with your mentoring. Have fun with that, and hopefully that's another little tool that you can put in your toolkit for your mentoring processes. This is Melanie Moss. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye for now.